Okay, so yes, maybe we can already start. So thank you all for joining. My name is Javier Artin. I am application engineer at Nextmol. For those who do not know us, Nextmol is a company that focuses on R&D on polymers and surfactants through the study using computational chemistry and machine learning. This is something that Uriel later on will explain in more detail. In today's session, we are going to focus on machine learning. We are going to explain how it works, how we can apply it, which are the advantages and the limitations of this technique. And we will also show a small success case that we have worked on. After the presentation, a brief demo of our software as a service platform featuring one of these machine learning models will be presented. And later we will have a small slot for a Q&A. This session will be recorded and sent to you, although the identity of all the attendees will be kept private. This session will be presented by Dr. Uriol Esquivias. He is a business development manager at Nextmol. He holds a bachelor in nanotechnology, postgraduate studies in bioinformatics, and a PhD on computational chemistry by the University of Barcelona. Uriol, whenever you're ready, you can start the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Javier. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for your attendance. Today, I'm going to talk, as Javier mentioned, about machine learning in chemical R&D, and I want to mention that this will be an introductory talk on machine learning, and I will make simplifications because my objective here is to give basic concept of on machine learning and how to apply it in chemical R&D. So first, to give you a bit of context, I want to make a brief introduction of Nextmol. So we are a spin-off company from the Barcelona Supercomputing Center, and we develop solutions based on molecular modeling and machine learning to accelerate chemical R&D. And we are specialized in polymers and surfactants, and we can apply, and we are applying our solutions in these sectors here at the bottom, from personal care, home care, or other sectors. But let's go to the interesting topic. So machine learning and artificial intelligence are things that I think you might have heard of. So basically, artificial intelligence is a general, a broad term to refer when a machine does something human. So like learning, reasoning, or making decisions. And machine learning is a field inside artificial intelligence that is based on studying the algorithms that can generalize data and do things that are not explicitly programmed to do. So some examples of these machine learning models are these three types. Supervised learning, that are one of the most common ones. I think when people think on machine learning, sometimes people think on this. That's what you have is you give chemical structure, you give a property to the model learns the relationship between the property and the molecule, and then after that, when you give the model a molecule, it gives you back a new property that hasn't seen before. Another type is unsupervised learning. In this case, there is no label, there is no property. In this case, you give all the data. In this case, for example, molecular features of surfactants, and it classifies, it clusters in different groups these surfactants. And the third type, reinforcement learning, you can think of as sometimes a robot that interacts with the environment, and this action, it gives back a response that is a reward, and this agent will change its behavior according to the response. For example, if you are designing a surfactant, you can modify chemically the surfactant and see how is the surface tension of this surfactant, and then the model will generate new changes to go to a point where the surface tension is lower. So in machine learning, there are two typical phases. First, the training, where what you can do, this is an example of a supervised learning, where what you can do is you give to the untrained model a molecule and the property associated to that molecule, and it learns the pattern. And then after this slow phase, what you have is the inference, where you give a new molecule and the model gives you almost instantly a new property, a new value of that property. So to build a successful machine learning model, what you need is to understand two concepts. Basically, the data, information, the results from the lab that you have, and the model, the algorithm, and how you will apply this algorithm. So going to data, I think you might heard maybe this sentence of garbage in, garbage out. So what this means is, if you don't have enough quality data, even with the best of the models, you will not obtain like valuable results. So first, what you need is like an enough number of data points. But maybe you ask, okay, how many? How many data points? And maybe you're expecting the answer, but it depends. It depends on many things. It depends on the model, what you are trying to do, the quality of the data. So it really depends. But I know you want an answer, so I will give you an answer for some models that we have built. So to predict some physicochemical properties, what we have used is at least 100 of data points. This doesn't mean that maybe there are other models, like for example, large language models as ChatGPT. This needs billions of data points, like a lot of data. And maybe you have like simple models that require maybe only dozens of data points. But this is for the typical models that we have built. This is like some data, some number that you can use. Okay, but if we don't have that data, what can we do? So first, go out to the literature, check information, public databases. There's a lot of information out there that you can use that maybe is valuable for what you're trying to do. Another thing is that maybe you have information, you have data in your company, in your department, that is useful. And what I mean is there's a lot of data that sometimes is discarded, or that you obtain them following the protocol, but it doesn't fit your project, or it doesn't fit what you're trying to do. And that data is not wrong. Like, you can feed that data to the model, and it's really important because the model needs to know what it works for you and what it doesn't. So this is an important point. Also, you can generate the data. There are different ways that you can generate the data. If you don't want to go to the lab, you can try other computational methods. For example, there are cheaper methods that you can use to generate data. In our case, for example, we commonly use molecular dynamics simulations, where it can be useful to generate new data. But there are other methods. Also, you can go to the lab again and do new experiments. But what you can use is an approach, a machine learning approach that is called active learning. Active learning, what is it basically what it does is it gives you which is the next experiment or which is the next region that you should explore to gain the most information. So for example, here in this chemical space, you have green dots that you have already explored, and you are trying to do a new experiment, and you can do the blue one or the orange one. The blue one probably will not give you much information because you have like a lot of points around, but the orange one will give you information about the region that you haven't explored yet. So active learning is based on that. So how can I use my resources more efficiently to obtain more information? Okay, so let's go now to, we have quantity, but how how can I check if I quality data? So first, there are different ways to evaluate the quality of data. I will give you some tips for you to follow to obtain quality data. First is to obtain accurate data. Second, consistent data. And the third one is data that is from the area of interest. What I mean is, first, accurate data means data that has been obtained following the protocols, following the same and in the same conditions. Or if the data is not yours, check their sources, check that you can trust the sources. Second thing, use consistent data. And in consistent data, I mean like when you are following a protocol in the lab, you follow the protocol, then you press the button, obtain the results. But usually, sometimes the protocol doesn't continue on what to do with the results. So it's like, okay, you have the results, do whatever you want. But it's important to have guidelines on how to how save those results, like the format files, or like here you can see some tips. This is important because I know people that in the same company, different departments that use the same machine stores the information in different ways. And then when they have to compare them, they need an additional step of cleaning, of curating that data. So this is really, really important. And the last point is use data that covers the region that you're trying to understand, to explore. So do not use points that are really outside of your chemical space, because it won't add information to the model, or just use data points from just one region. So like try to cover all the space. Okay, now we know what to do with our data. Now let's go to the model. So which machine learning model, which architecture should we choose? So the answer maybe won't like you, but there is no magic model. There's no one fits all model. What you have to do is first check the literature, check previous works, because sometimes what you are already trying, maybe it already exists, or maybe they have done similar things that you can inspire of that and on that works. Second, try different models, try different performance metrics, try different input parameters. So you have to try a lot of things to know which one is the best for you. And the third one is you have to know what your model can do and cannot do. For example, if you train a model on plastics to predict Young's modulus, for example, then in the inference phase, if you give them a ceramic material, it probably will give you a value. but this value won't make sense or won't probably make sense. So what you have to know is the applicability domain of your model. And an important thing to do that is also to have people who understands not only the the model, the mathematics, a data scientist, but you also need an expert, a chemist, or a person that understands the things, the things in your model. So it's important to ask for help if you don't have uh, experts on that matter. Like if it's a big project, hire people or like look for help. Okay, so after this, what I want to show you is an example of a model that we built. This is a project that we did with in collaboration with L'Oréal that predicts glass transition temperature or TG on biopolymers. In this project, what we first did is we took a pool of monomers, in this case 58 monomers, and we randomly combined them to obtain 40,000 polymer sequences. And each one of these polymers has associated 1,600 molecular descriptors, like molecular weight or other properties that are associated to that sequence. What we did with that many sequences is use an unsupervised machine learning model to reduce all these sequences to 546 polymer sequences that covers all the region of interest. So the idea is do not take 500 sequences of just one small part of the chemical space, but try to cover all the chemical space of interest. Then we generated data with molecular dynamics simulations, and what we obtained is 546, one for each polymer, glass transition temperature. And with this property and the molecular features, in this case, we did the reduction from these 1,600 to 29 features, 29 molecular descriptors. With this, we trained our model, our supervised machine learning model. And here you can see this is the link that you can, it's publicly accessible and you can check them. I will show you now in a moment. And I want to mention here, we can see all the data points that we obtain from the molecular dynamic simulations and the TG associated to each point in column. So this is the training set that we use for the machine learning model. Okay, and let's go to the this model is in our platform, but you can also find it available online on the link that I showed. Basically, here you can see the paper where we publish the model, and here what it does basically is you give the smiles of the monomer, you give the smiles of the two monomers and the ratio. Here, for example, is an example that I will copy. And what it does is what it depicts the chemical structure of the two monomers, and you can set the ratio of the two monomers in the polymer, and you can collect prediction, and right away it will give you a value of glass transition temperature, 285. And a really important thing is that it says, okay, your prediction is inside the applicability domain. So it's close to the training set that we use. For example, if instead of this monomer, we use, for example, polyethylene, have a long chain of this homopolymer. we give prediction, and here it says, okay, this one is outside our applicability domain because it's not similar to our training set. So we cannot trust the glass condition temperature that is giving. It's a number, yes, but it would probably do not resemble the experimental value. So that's it. This is like a easy thing. Like it's quite easy to use it. So I invite you to try this model on the link below. You can also find it on our website. So to finish this presentation, I will give you like some messages. So first one, standardize the generation and the storage of the data. So follow protocols, use the same, because then it will get easier when you have to compile and create and use that data for machine learning models or for other things. Another important thing, save those experiments that maybe doesn't look good, but if they are obtained following the protocol, they can be fed to the model. Also, the third one, to generate data, you can use other methods like computational methods like molecular dynamics, or use active learning to use your resources more efficiently. And the last one, you need to understand your model, like not only the mathematics of your model that is important, but also the chemicals, the what your model is doing, the topic. So with that, I want to thank you for your attention, and now I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.